Hey everyone, UEBS 2 Hub here, and in this battle, we have 1 million World War II American assault troopers. As you can see, they are already in their boats, with 100,000 modern soldiers defending Omaha Beach. So that said, let's start this and see exactly what happens, but I want you guys to see this landing because it is spectacular once they actually start making it off their Higgins boats. Here we go. That is a lot of people on one single boat, but of course this is UEBS 2, and as such, some of the numbers can be fudged a little bit, but of course, as you can see in the top right, we did at least start off with 1 million soldiers, but it'll still be around 1 million versus 100,000, all of them there. So I'm going to skip forward, do a time jump here to when the action actually starts, but man, oh man, this is going to be a tough one to defend. Okay, so we are just about within range here, and as you can see, these boats are still landing people. It appears as though we've lost around 30,000 assault troopers, but we do still have around 1 million, and they are starting to really let loose. Wow, okay, so the assault troopers are actually starting to kill some of the modern troops. Of course, that makes some level of sense. I'm not really entirely sure what the power differential is here between the modern troops and also the assault troopers, but yeah, I mean, the way that these guys are being landed, it is likely that, they will not be able to build up too much of a, I guess you could say, like a wall of fire at any one given time, at least not initially. But right now, at least based on the amount of people that there are, I'm saying that the assault troopers, are actually winning this, even if just slightly, but we're going to have to wait and see exactly what plays out here. But man, look at this. Look at that, man. You imagine a battle like this happening? Thus far, the modern troops defending have destroyed 15,000 assault troopers, whereas the assault troopers have destroyed 6,500 modern troops. So we're really starting to see a pile-on here at the edge, and this is kind of what I was fearing a little bit. Oh, that's cool. They are jumping right over. But this is kind of what I was, well, I don't know if the right word is fearing, but over here, these guys have a much smaller wall of fire. You can see that the guys in the back simply are not doing much, and I didn't want to put them in guard position because I feared that what would happen is that by doing that, they might move and break rank, which could then, of course, hinder their ability to succeed. But these guys are building up a tremendous line of fire, and now the guys on the side up here are starting to get encircled. So it appears as though, even though the modern troops do have a slightly better than 2-to-1 KD, they are starting to lose fast as they are being encircled. Typically on the sides, as you can see, there is much more buildup on the sides, and even up there as well. They have not actually, they are up on top of the ridge now, and killing the modern troops from behind is a very interesting development. Again, I kind of somewhat expected this, and the modern troops are actually holding up quite well, but these assault troopers are still landing. Holy guacamole. There is now a thin line of wall of bodies, rather, being built up here that the assault troopers have to crest in order to hit a firing position. So it's pretty interesting. I mean, this relatively thin line of fire is what's basically killing everyone, whereas for the most part, these guys have not yet actually seen any combat, again, due to their hold position. Okay, so the modern troopers they've just crested 100,000 kills, and it appears as though their kill-death ratio is actually improving here as the rear lines are getting more and more into the battle. So this is actually kind of, at least in my opinion, interesting because you're starting to see the rear echelons here actually doing something, and it appears as though that's impacting the assault troopers more and more. Now, these guys are still landing troops, so this is the entirety of the modern soldiers here, and that's still not even all of the assault troopers landing on Omaha Beach. So this is becoming quite a mess, and you know, of course, if you want to believe it, the human wave doctrine may very well win in this instance, but we'll have to wait and see. I'm assuming that's what's going to happen here, but man, these modern troopers are putting up a hell of a fight, despite, of course, having essentially a blood waterfall and a blood pool just spawn at the bottom of this hill. This is absolutely horrifying. Okay, if the situation was not bad enough, they are climbing Point du Hoc. If you guys don't know, that was a spot where I believe, what was it, Army Rangers had to climb up a, what was that, like a 100-point cliff to disable or destroy German artillery during the invasion of Normandy. But either way, this is the Point du Hoc in UEBS 2, and it is starting to get really nasty. Pretty much everyone here is involved. Very few of the modern soldiers are left without firing their guns. They're, with the exception of this group here, that seems to be about the healthiest. They are all fully in this fight here, and it is, holy cow. This is just, and they're still landing. They're still landing troops. When will this end? I'm not sure, but we're going to have to see exactly how many of these assault troopers were taken out, because, again, it appears as though they are going to win, but these guys are not going down without a fight. Holy cow. Update number 50 bajillion and 5. It appears as though there are still more troops landing and more pools of blood forming. This is carnage. Absolute carnage. And we are now getting really thin in the ranks here for the modern soldiers line. We only have around 1/3 of the troops left. I'm actually genuinely surprised. I did not know that they could actually man these. I'm not really sure of what utility these are, so if you guys know, let me know in the comments below if they actually help. But it appears as though they don't really have any sort of hit detection helping them. So, for example, if we lined a bunch of troops up here, they wouldn't really have any more protection than if they were outside or on top of the bunker. But man, this is getting messy here. Okay, it looks as though they've pretty much completely stormed the top. These are all assault troopers. They've taken over the left flank in its entirety. At this point, once troops become encircled in UEBS 2, really in anything, that's where you start seeing the casualties pour on, because they can essentially do whatever they want at that point, and rather than take fire from one or two sides, they pretty much have to take fire from every side imaginable. But I will say this, the right flank, as it were, is actually holding up very well. Maybe it's because they just can't get as much of a foothold up here because of the geography, but I'm surprised. It's just the left flank that will be the undoing here of the modern soldiers, but they're holding up quite well. They are still around a 2.5 to 1 KD, kill-death ratio, which is very impressive, especially considering the numerical superiority of the assault troopers. But it appears as though they have all landed. There may still be one left, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. These are the last of the reinforcements. A bloody day on the beach, if there ever was one. They might still be... Nope, they're not still landing. I guess that's just an automation thing, but this is bonkers. We have the entire beach just pooled or just covered in blood. There are pools of blood up to your waist. It is just gruesome. Absolutely gruesome. But the casualties do appear to be slowing down quite a bit. So we have just gotten under 30,000 troops for the first time with the modern soldiers, and they are thoroughly being flanked at this point. The entire left flank on top has been completely overrun by what looks to be fresh troops. The entire portion, the bottom portion of this, is just a total swarm of assault troopers, essentially battering what's left of this small group of modern soldiers. And we have what looks to be kind of a vanguard of assault troopers putting up some work here. But again, I mean, at this point, the assault troopers now have both the low and the high ground in many instances, which is absolutely terrifying if you were one of these modern troopers. Now, everybody is in the game, I guess, except for these guys. I'm not sure if they've yet fired their guns, but I hope they put up some sort of a fight soon, because them just sitting there will get them a reprimand from their commanding officer. And if nothing else, if I've not seen everything, now I think I have. Synchronized assault trooping right here. They are lighting off fireworks in a glorious pattern. It is truly beautiful, although of course I'm not sure the guys on top are appreciating that display of light. So here we are with only around 10,000 troops left and 600,000 assault troops left, and it's around a 60-to-1 person, I guess, enemy to enemy ratio here, so to speak. And there's absolutely no way that the modern soldiers can pull this one out. Now, some people might say, oh, well, if you had them on a different setting, maybe if they were on guard mode, attack mode, maybe it'd be different. No, I doubt it'd be any different at all. In fact, actually, the result might end up being worse, being that then they would give up their high ground, which does play, in my experience, some sort of an advantage. So with that said, it looks like this match is over. Just totally over. I mean, everyone is now being totally surrounded. There are pools of blood on top of pools of blood. It is just a total massacre. I mean, these look like ants, but they are computer people totally dominating the other group of computer people. It is just absolutely wild. This looks like this might be about the last bastion here of anything having to do with the modern soldiers. Right here. Let's see what happens. At this point, the modern soldiers are finally dying at a rate higher than what we see with the assault soldiers. They have around a 300-to-1 advantage at this point, and you have very small pockets still surviving, still fighting for their lives, but it is all over. This is, I mean, just look at this. This carnage, and yet still so many. That is a lot of people. Whoa, look at all that. It is just carnage. This guy is walking through, just, it's flowing. I could even hear it. I could. I mean, I'm sure you guys can't. That blood is flowing. It is just wild. So here we are with the last holdouts. I'm going to call it. It's official. The assault troopers won, but not without heavy loss of life. They have lost 400,000 troops in an attempt to take out slightly over 100,000 modern troopers. Now, I'm wondering if some of the assault troopers, or the modern troopers rather, are stuck behind this wall. It might appear as though they are, because you have a lot of these guys that are trying to fire through a rock wall. So I'm not entirely sure if this is going to be it. Once these guys are dead, if that'll be the end of the actual battle, or if you're going to see people firing into a bunch of rocks. But either way, this is crazy. Just, I mean, I expected it, but I expected to go a lot quicker and for a much less bonkers match. But either way, thank you all so much for watching. If you'd like, please consider liking, commenting, subscribing. Subscriptions mean the world to me. But either way, thanks again, and I'll see you all on the other side The assault troopers won. Take care, everyone.